Henry Ford revolutionized mass production with assembly lines. Henry Ford stands as one of the most transformative figures in industrial and economic history, renowned not merely for building cars, but for revolutionizing the very process by which things are made. His legacy reaches far beyond the automobile industry, stretching into realms of business strategy, economic structure, labor relations, and global industrial practice. When Ford introduced the concept of assembly line production, it was not simply a mechanical innovation. It was a complete overhaul of production methodology that drastically improved efficiency, lowered costs, and made products like the automobile affordable to the average consumer. This change catalyzed the transition from artisanal craftsmanship to scalable manufacturing, a leap that propelled the modern economy into a new era. Born in 1863 in Michigan, Ford exhibited mechanical aptitude from an early age. His early life was marked by an innate curiosity about machinery and an obsession with making mechanical tasks easier and more efficient. After working with the Edison Illuminating Company, he developed a keen understanding of engines and energy systems, which would later serve him in crafting reliable automobiles. However, his ambition was not limited to technical improvements. He envisioned a future in which average Americans could access reliable transportation. This vision shaped his development of the Model T, the first car to be mass-produced using techniques that allowed for unprecedented affordability. The Model T's success was not due merely to its engineering, but to the revolutionary production methods that made it. By breaking down the assembly of a vehicle into a series of simple, repeatable tasks, Ford enabled unskilled workers to contribute efficiently to a highly complex process. This division of labor eliminated the need for workers to be experts in all aspects of car construction and allowed for hiring at scale. The introduction of the moving assembly line in 1913 cut the time required to build a car from more than 12 hours to less than 2, drastically increasing productivity. This efficiency translated directly into lower prices, which in turn widened the customer base. The financial implications of Ford's production model were immense. By lowering the cost of production, the company could offer cars at prices the middle class could afford, thereby expanding the market exponentially. The principle was simple: produce more for less, sell to more people, and scale operations for sustainable profitability. Ford's emphasis on economies of scale demonstrated the powerful financial leverage of mass production. Additionally, the higher volume of sales offset the lower profit margin per unit, showing that profitability could be driven by volume rather than premium pricing, a principle that continues to underpin many successful business models today. Labor also played a central role in Ford's innovation. In 1914, he shocked the business world by introducing the $5 a day wage, which was double the prevailing rate. Though initially criticized, this move proved financially astute. By offering higher wages, Ford reduced turnover, increased productivity, and created a more loyal workforce. Moreover, better paid workers became customers, expanding the pool of potential buyers for his automobiles. This circular economy approach paying workers well so they could afford the products they made helped stabilize demand and smooth the cycles of supply and consumption. It was a visionary alignment of labor and market strategy. Ford's approach to production also introduced a new standard for quality control. With each worker performing a specific function, consistency and reliability became easier to manage. Mistakes were easier to isolate and correct, reducing waste and rework. The resulting efficiency further improved margins and increased customer satisfaction. By ensuring a uniform product, Ford helped establish consumer trust in industrial goods, laying the foundation for brand loyalty in an era when most products were judged by the artisan rather than the manufacturer. This uniformity was a key aspect of scaling operations without compromising quality. Ford's ideas did not remain confined to the automotive industry. His success attracted attention across sectors, and soon, other industries began adopting similar methods. From agriculture to appliance manufacturing, the principles of mass production began reshaping the global industrial landscape. The idea of breaking down complex tasks into smaller components that could be executed with precision and repetition influenced everything from food processing to electronics. In this way, Ford's assembly line became not just a method, but a philosophy and operating system for the modern economy, beyond the factory floor. Ford's impact on corporate management and organizational structure was equally profound. The vertical integration of his operations from raw materials to finished products allowed for tighter control over costs and supply chains. This approach reduced dependence on external vendors, minimized delays, and ensured greater consistency in output. It also allowed Ford to capture more value at each stage of the production process, increasing overall profitability. Vertical integration remains a key strategic consideration for companies seeking resilience and control in an increasingly globalized marketplace. Ford also leveraged the power of standardization by limiting color and model choices, famously offering the Model T in any color as long as it's black. He simplified inventory, streamlined procurement, and accelerated production cycles. This focus on standardization over customization reduced variability, simplified training for workers, and facilitated rapid expansion. Though modern businesses often prize personalization, Ford's approach revealed the substantial benefits of standardization in scaling operations quickly and efficiently. The ripple effects of Ford's methods extended into financial markets as well. The predictable output and profitability of his production system attracted investors and contributed to the emergence of manufacturing-based equities as viable long-term investments. The notion that manufacturing could deliver consistent returns underpinned the rise of industrial capitalism in the 20th century. In turn, this helped finance the development of infrastructure, housing, and new industries, demonstrating how innovations in production could have macroeconomic consequences. Ford's legacy also reshaped global trade. As production efficiency increased, the cost advantage enabled American goods to compete internationally. Other countries, eager to modernize, studied and replicated his methods. Factories in Europe, Asia, and Latin America began adopting assembly lines, fundamentally altering their economies and labor structures. Ford's ideas effectively exported American industrialism around the world, laying the groundwork for global supply chains and the interconnected economies of today. Despite criticisms of his rigidity, Ford's unwavering focus on efficiency and cost control served him well in a volatile market. His commitment to long-term vision over short-term profit enabled the creation of a business model that could weather economic storms. Even during downturns, his low-cost cars remained attractive to budget-conscious consumers, providing a buffer against broader economic turbulence. This resilience highlighted the power of financial prudence and strategic foresight in building enduring enterprises. Ford's influence continues to shape financial strategies today. Concepts like just-in-time production, lean manufacturing, and Six Sigma all trace their lineage to his original innovations. His approach taught generations of business leaders the value of minimizing waste, optimizing workflow, and aligning workforce incentives with organizational goals. Modern startups that prioritized scalability and cost-effective growth echoed the very principles Ford championed over a century ago. The social implications of Ford's work also deserve mention. By democratizing access to automobiles, he transformed mobility, reshaped cities, and redefined personal freedom. Suburbanization, road infrastructure, and even modern retail patterns owe their existence in part to the widespread availability of cars. In turn, this fueled new economic sectors such as oil, insurance, road construction, and tourism, amplifying his economic impact. These cascading effects illustrate how financial innovation, when paired with vision and execution, can transform not only industries but entire societies. In retrospect, Ford was not merely an industrialist but a systems thinker. He understood that true innovation involves aligning people, processes, and products in a coherent strategy. His genius lay not just in inventing machinery, but in orchestrating its use in ways that maximized efficiency, reduced costs, and expanded markets. This integration of vision, discipline, and pragmatism created a blueprint for enterprise that remains relevant in today's digital age. The legacy of Henry Ford is not confined to his era. It endures in every efficient production line, every scalable business model, and every financial strategy that seeks to do more with less. Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple Inc. Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple Inc., is widely recognized as one of the most influential figures in the modern business world. Known not only for his technological vision, but for his profound impact on product design, branding, marketing, and consumer engagement. From the beginning of his entrepreneurial journey, Jobs displayed an uncanny ability to anticipate market needs and craft solutions that combined functionality with elegance. What set him apart was not just his technological insight, but his unique capacity to integrate innovation with user experience in a way that emotionally connected with consumers. elevating Apple into a global powerhouse and redefining how products are positioned in the marketplace. Born in 1955 and adopted by a working-class couple in California, Jobs showed an early interest in electronics and computing. This curiosity led him to drop out of college and pursue less conventional paths, often relying on intuition and non-traditional learning. Despite lacking formal business education, Jobs had a sharp instinct for recognizing opportunity and forging ahead where others hesitated. Partnering with Steve Wozniak in the mid-1970s, he co-founded Apple in a garage, which marked the humble origins of what would become one of the most valuable companies in history. Jobs' ability to fuse Wozniak's engineering talent with his own design sensibility and market foresight helped establish the Apple I and later the Apple II, both pivotal in making personal computing accessible. Jobs understood that packaging and presentation mattered just as much as technical performance. He insisted on simplicity and beauty in every aspect of product design, emphasizing intuitive interfaces and minimalistic aesthetics. His obsession with detail influenced not only the look of the devices, but how users felt when interacting with them. This philosophy created an emotional bond between consumers and products, encouraging loyalty beyond functionality. He believed that technology should serve people seamlessly, without overwhelming them with complexity, a view that became central to Apple's identity and success. One of Jobs' most significant financial insights was the strategic blending of hardware, software, and services into a unified ecosystem. Instead of allowing others to develop operating systems or relying on third-party platforms, Apple tightly integrated all aspects of its products. This approach ensured quality control, optimized performance, and created lock-in that encouraged repeat purchases. The resulting ecosystem model became a profitable strategy, as users, once committed to one Apple product, were more likely to buy others, thereby driving recurring revenue. Jobs' vision demonstrated that vertical integration could be a powerful tool not just for engineering consistency, but for long-term profitability and customer retention. Jobs also revolutionized pricing strategy through perceived value rather than commodity cost. Apple products were rarely the cheapest on the market, yet they consistently commanded premium pricing. He positioned Apple as a lifestyle brand, not just a tech company, with a focus on quality, innovation, and design excellence. By creating demand based on desirability rather than utility alone, Jobs generated higher margins and established Apple as a status symbol. His pricing model exemplified how branding can elevate value perception, a core financial strategy that many modern businesses attempt to replicate by enhancing brand equity. When Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, after being ousted a decade earlier, the company was struggling. However, his comeback marked the beginning of one of the greatest corporate turnarounds in business history. He simplified the product line, eliminated redundant projects, and redirected resources toward fewer, higher-impact initiatives. The launch of the iMac was a critical turning point that showcased Apple's commitment to innovation and design, while reviving consumer interest. Jobs' disciplined focus on clarity, quality, and distinctive identity revitalized Apple's brand and financial standing, proving that strategic streamlining and decisive leadership can be as important as technical advancement in restoring profitability. Marketing under Jobs took on a new form, blending storytelling with emotional resonance. His iconic product launches, often executed with theatrical precision, transformed mundane announcements into cultural events. Jobs didn't just sell products. He sold ideas, emotions, and visions of the future. Each keynote emphasized how Apple's innovations would simplify lives, inspire creativity, or transform work. This narrative approach created deep consumer attachment and unparalleled anticipation for upcoming releases. The emotional connection between the brand and its audience fueled massive demand and facilitated viral marketing, reducing traditional advertising costs and amplifying reach through community enthusiasm. Jobs demonstrated that timing is as critical as innovation. He rarely rushed products to market, preferring to wait until the technology and user experience aligned perfectly. This patience often allowed Apple to avoid the pitfalls of premature adoption and ensured a higher rate of customer satisfaction. Instead of being first, Jobs focused on being best, often entering existing markets with superior offerings that rapidly became dominant. From the iPod to the iPhone to the iPad, each product was introduced with careful timing and bold positioning, allowing Apple to capture value by redefining categories rather than merely participating in them. In Jobs' worldview, limitations spurred creativity. He often constrained teams with rigid timelines or strict design requirements, which, rather than stifling innovation, compelled unconventional thinking. This tension between creativity and discipline produced results that were both groundbreaking and polished. It also instilled a culture of high standards and relentless pursuit of excellence within Apple. Financially, this translated into fewer product failures, stronger brand loyalty, and more efficient allocation of research and development budgets. Maximizing return on investment across innovation cycles. Jobs' emphasis on secrecy and surprise created a unique psychological advantage. By tightly controlling information leaks and orchestrating unveilings, he cultivated an aura of mystery and anticipation. This secrecy not only protected intellectual property, but amplified excitement and media attention, essentially turning product launches into global events. The resulting free publicity contributed significantly to Apple's marketing efficiency, giving the company immense visibility without corresponding expenditure. Jobs turned product introductions into powerful financial levers, where anticipation and scarcity fueled demand well beyond supply, creating backorders and social validation that further boosted sales. Another critical financial impact of Jobs' leadership was his ability to align talent with mission. He recruited and retained top-tier designers, engineers, and thinkers who believed in Apple's core purpose. His exacting standards drove some away, but those who remained helped build some of the most iconic products of the digital age. This culture of excellence, while intense, ensured consistent output of high-quality innovations. The alignment of vision and talent contributed to efficient execution, reduced error margins, and faster go-to-market timings, all of which are key performance indicators in any successful business model. Jobs was also a master of disruption. By entering the music industry with iTunes, the phone industry with the iPhone, and the publishing industry with the iPad, he showcased how strong brand equity and user trust could be leveraged to penetrate new markets. This strategic diversification opened multiple revenue streams, each feeding back into the Apple ecosystem. Financially, this diversification mitigated risk and increased stability, while cross-promotion between products ensured rising customer lifetime value. Jobs' method demonstrated that companies with strong core competencies can expand strategically without diluting their brand. Jobs' departure from traditional executive norms also contributed to Apple's distinctiveness. He rejected the formal attire and corporate lingo common in Silicon Valley, opting instead for a more humanistic and artistic presentation. This authenticity resonated with audiences and set Apple apart in an industry often seen as cold and technical. From a business standpoint, it created a unique identity that fostered brand intimacy and loyalty. By humanizing technology and communicating with clarity, Jobs made Apple not just a company but a movement, where customers felt emotionally invested. In the brand's journey, simplicity was at the heart of Jobs' philosophy, not just in design, but in business decisions. He preferred focusing on a few core products, done exceptionally well, over a wide catalog of offerings. This minimalism reduced overhead, clarified marketing messages, and improved inventory management. Financially, this allowed Apple to achieve higher margins on fewer products, maintain tighter quality control, and respond swiftly to market changes. The discipline of saying no to good ideas in favor of great ones helped preserve strategic focus and operational excellence. Walt Disney, founder of the Disney Empire. Walt Disney, the founder of the Disney Empire, was a visionary who combined creativity, innovation, and business strategy to build one of the most influential entertainment companies in history. His journey from a small-time animator to a global media icon showcases the power of imagination fused with relentless execution. Disney's ability to transform simple ideas into world-renowned characters and stories was matched by his keen understanding of brand building and asset monetization. From the outset, he treated storytelling not just as art, but as a scalable business model, using intellectual property as a foundation for multiple revenue streams. His first major success, Mickey Mouse, wasn't merely a cartoon. It became a symbol, a mascot, and eventually a commercial powerhouse that led to merchandise, comic strips, and widespread brand recognition. Disney's strength lay in his understanding that content could transcend the screen. He was among the first to see the potential in character licensing, turning animated figures into toys, books, and apparel. This insight revolutionized the entertainment business, creating a model where a single creation could generate income across various product categories. Instead of depending solely on ticket sales or one-time viewership, he developed a method to extract long-term value from original content. His focus on intellectual property ownership allowed him to retain control over characters and stories, enabling consistent branding and greater financial returns. These properties became assets that appreciated over time, forming a financial foundation that funded further innovations and expansions. In building his empire, Disney took bold financial risks that many thought unwise. When he created Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first full-length animated feature film, it was considered a gamble, with critics labeling it Disney's folly. Yet, his belief in the project's potential pushed him to secure financing, manage a growing team, and oversee an unprecedented production process. The film's massive success at the box office validated his vision and demonstrated that high-quality animation could be both critically acclaimed and commercially viable. That victory brought in substantial profits and laid the groundwork for future productions, showing that calculated risk, when paired with quality execution, could yield extraordinary rewards. As the business grew, Walt Disney introduced new forms of storytelling by merging entertainment with real-world experiences. The creation of Disneyland in 1955 represented a major leap from screen to physical space. He envisioned a place where families could step into the worlds they saw in films, making fantasy come alive through rides, attractions, and immersive environments. Disneyland wasn't just an amusement park, it was an experiential business model built on brand familiarity and emotional connection. Guests were willing to pay a premium for the experience, and the park became a consistent source of revenue through admissions, concessions, and branded merchandise. The concept of turning storytelling into spatial design redefined customer engagement and opened new revenue streams that were both scalable and enduring. Walt's approach to business was deeply strategic, often anticipating market trends before they emerged. He emphasized vertical integration, bringing content creation, production, and distribution under one corporate umbrella. By controlling each step of the process, he ensured consistency in quality, messaging, and customer experience. This strategy reduced reliance on third parties and increased profitability by capturing value at every stage. It also allowed for faster adaptation to audience preferences and industry shifts, making the company more resilient and responsive. His belief in ownership extended to distribution networks, leading to the establishment of Buena Vista Distribution, which gave Disney control over film releases and greater negotiation leverage with theaters. Disney was a master of branding, and he meticulously crafted the image of his company to appeal to broad audiences, especially families. Every project, from films to theme parks, was built around a core of wholesome values, optimism, and wonder. This consistent brand messaging created trust with consumers, encouraging repeat purchases and long-term loyalty. His ability to link emotion with entertainment made the Disney name synonymous with quality and joy, turning it into a household brand across generations. Financially, brand loyalty translated into steady demand, reduced marketing costs, and increased customer lifetime value. The Disney brand became more than a label, it was an assurance of experience and excellence. He also valued innovation, constantly investing in new technologies to enhance storytelling and audience engagement. Disney pioneered techniques in animation, sound synchronization, and color usage to create richer visual narratives. Technological advancement wasn't just for artistic benefit, it was a tool for differentiation in a crowded marketplace. The willingness to spend on R&D yielded returns in the form of unique experiences and lasting customer impressions. His investment in innovation kept the company ahead of competitors and ensured continued relevance in a fast-evolving industry. These efforts turned high production costs into competitive advantages, illustrating that innovation, while expensive, can produce sustainable financial outcomes when aligned with strategic goals. Walt's leadership style was demanding yet visionary. He expected excellence from his team and encouraged a culture of constant improvement. He surrounded himself with creative thinkers and talented artists, but he maintained strong oversight to ensure alignment with the company's mission. His attention to detail, from script to design, elevated the quality of every output. This commitment to high standards resulted in fewer failed projects and stronger performance across business units. The disciplined management approach created operational efficiency, minimized waste, and allowed for effective scaling without compromising quality. Another significant financial lesson from Disney's career was his understanding of global market expansion. He saw the universal appeal of storytelling and designed content that resonated across cultures. Animated films, by their nature, crossed language barriers easily, and the values embedded in Disney stories, love, courage, perseverance, relatable worldwide. This universality allowed Disney to tap into international markets without significant cultural adjustments. Global licensing and distribution became major revenue channels, and the success of films abroad justified increasing investment in localization and regional marketing. This global vision turned the Disney brand into an international phenomenon and insulated the company from domestic market fluctuations. In television, Walt made another strategic leap. By embracing the medium rather than resisting it, many film studios saw TV as a threat, but Disney saw it as a promotional platform. Shows like the Mickey Mouse Club and Disneyland not only entertained viewers, but also marketed upcoming films and park experiences. This cross-platform integration blurred the lines between content and marketing, creating a self-reinforcing system that drove both engagement and revenue. By using television to build anticipation and familiarity, Disney increased the success of theatrical releases and park visits, optimizing every touchpoint for monetization. The Disney model also extended to soundtracks, books, and collectibles, forming an early version of what is now known as transmedia strategy. Each character and storyline was repurposed across formats to reach different audience segments and multiply revenue opportunities. The lifecycle of each intellectual property was extended far beyond its initial release, creating long-term value from a single creative investment. This ecosystem approach turned Disney into a content and consumer products powerhouse, where each business unit supported and enhanced the others. Even after his passing in 1966, the systems and philosophies Walt Disney established continued to guide the company's growth. The leadership that followed carried forward his emphasis on storytelling, branding, and innovation, further expanding the company through acquisitions and new ventures. Companies like Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and 21st Century Fox were later added to the Disney portfolio, aligning with the original vision of rich content ownership and expansive storytelling. These strategic acquisitions significantly boosted market share and gave Disney control over some of the most valuable franchises in entertainment. This legacy demonstrates the enduring power of foundational strategy and long-term thinking in building financial empires. Walt Disney proved that creativity and commerce are not mutually exclusive, but can be harmonized to generate both artistic and financial success. His legacy teaches that owning original content, controlling its distribution, and expanding it across multiple formats are essential components of scalable enterprise. His foresight, discipline, and boldness turned dreams into tangible assets and stories into sustainable business ventures. By combining emotion with strategy and imagination with execution, he built a company that continues to captivate the world while delivering strong financial performance. Disney's journey is a masterclass in building value from vision and creating lasting wealth through purpose-driven enterprise. Howard Hughes, aviation innovator and businessman. Howard Hughes, the aviation innovator and businessman, remains one of the most enigmatic and multifaceted figures in American financial and industrial history. His legacy spans numerous industries, including film, aviation, real estate, and defense, each reflecting a unique combination of technical genius, daring investment, and relentless ambition. Born into wealth, Hughes inherited the Hughes Tool Company, which provided a solid financial foundation for his ventures. Instead of resting on inherited success, he leveraged it as a launchpad, reinvesting profits into sectors where he saw untapped potential. From a young age, he demonstrated an ability to think beyond conventional boundaries, taking calculated risks that many others would have avoided. His early entrance into the film industry was not merely a pursuit of art, but a calculated effort to capitalize on a rapidly expanding medium with immense commercial opportunity. By producing hits like Hell's Angels, he not only pushed the boundaries of cinematic technology, but also showcased his willingness to spend heavily to achieve excellence. Later recouping those investments through distribution rights and theater receipts. In aviation, Hughes displayed both passion and precision, establishing Hughes Aircraft Company with a vision of dominating aerospace through innovation and speed. He understood that technological superiority was a powerful competitive advantage, and poured resources into research and development. The H-1 Racer, a sleek and revolutionary aircraft of its time, set multiple speed records and demonstrated the value of aerodynamic efficiency in performance aviation. His approach to aircraft design was informed not just by aesthetics, but by meticulous engineering. The success of the H-1 marked the beginning of a new era in aviation and opened doors to military contracts and partnerships. Hughes used records and public feats not merely for personal achievement, but to build credibility in an industry increasingly important for national defense and commercial travel. This strategic use of spectacle attracted attention, investment, and long-term interest in his capabilities as a producer of advanced aviation technology. Financially, Hughes was acutely aware of the power of vertical integration. He pursued ownership over the entire supply chain, from design and testing to manufacturing and distribution. By maintaining control over every stage, he ensured quality, minimized dependencies, and captured greater margins. This approach was particularly visible in his aviation ventures, where he sought not only to build aircraft, but also to own the companies that serviced, flew, and sold them. His acquisition of Transworld Airlines TWA was a pivotal moment in his business career, allowing him to influence the commercial aviation industry from both the supply and demand sides. Under his guidance, TWA expanded internationally and invested in cutting-edge jets, setting a new standard in commercial flight. He prioritized customer comfort, fuel efficiency, and strategic routes, showing a keen understanding of competitive differentiation in a rapidly commoditizing industry. Hughes also appreciated the value of government relationships in scaling defense and aerospace ventures. During World War II, he secured military contracts to develop aircraft like the XF-11 and the H-4 Hercules, also known as the Spruce Goose. While not all projects met their intended goals, they provided essential R&D exposure and government funding that fueled broader innovation. Even when facing technical and production challenges, Hughes remained committed to pushing technological boundaries. He viewed setbacks not as failures, but as investments in knowledge and long-term capability. His insistence on engineering superiority over production speed was a financial risk, but it underscored his belief in enduring value rather than short-term gain. In the corporate world, Hughes maintained a highly centralized decision-making process. His control over company affairs was nearly absolute, allowing for rapid execution and unfiltered vision. While this sometimes led to bottlenecks and management challenges, it also enabled consistency and focus. His strategic decisions were informed by deep research, and he was known to obsess over details that others ignored. This level of involvement often yielded superior product outcomes, translating into stronger brand positioning and long-term customer loyalty. His hands-on style made him a formidable figure in boardrooms and gave him negotiating power in mergers, acquisitions, and partnerships. Diversification was a critical aspect of Hughes's financial philosophy. Beyond aviation and film, he strategically expanded into real estate and hospitality. His investments in Las Vegas reshaped the city's skyline and economy. Through the acquisition of hotels, casinos, and land, he exerted influence over the city's development and regulatory environment. Hughes understood the long-term potential of Las Vegas as a tourism and entertainment hub, and his early entry positioned him to capture significant returns as the city grew. His real estate acquisitions were often underpinned by intelligence and discretion, as he used front companies and trusted associates to negotiate deals quietly, reducing speculation and price inflation. These methods highlighted his understanding of market psychology and timing. Hughes also exemplified the importance of asset accumulation as a hedge against volatility. He preferred tangible investments like property, aircraft, and infrastructure, which retained value through economic cycles. His reluctance to rely heavily on debt financing minimized exposure during downturns and allowed for greater agility in strategic decision-making. Hughes maintained liquidity when necessary, but remained largely self-financed through reinvested earnings and operational profits. This approach gave him control over timing and strategy without the pressure of external capital obligations. Financial independence allowed him to operate on his own terms and pursue long-horizon projects with patience and commitment. Brand reputation was another key asset in Hughes's empire. Despite his increasing reclusiveness in later years, the Hughes name remained associated with innovation, excellence, and ambition. His companies benefited from this association, often securing contracts and opportunities based on brand perception alone. Hughes cultivated an aura of mystery and brilliance, which in turn attracted talent, media attention, and investor confidence. The mythology around his persona served as a marketing tool that amplified the reach and impact of his ventures. Even without active public appearances, His influence remained strong because of the foundational work and credibility he had built over decades. Risk management was integral to his operational strategy. While Hughes was known for daring ideas and massive bets, he balanced them with calculated controls and contingency planning. He was methodical in testing prototypes, conducting feasibility studies, and securing legal protections for intellectual property. In litigation and negotiations, he was both aggressive and thorough, ensuring his interests were safeguarded. This attention to legal detail protected his assets and preserved company integrity during disputes and acquisitions. He believed that every innovation should be defensible and replicable, and this approach allowed his businesses to scale with minimal dilution of core value. Hughes was also a pioneer in merging private industry with national interest. He foresaw the growing interplay between government priorities and technological development, particularly in aerospace and defense. His companies aligned their R&D efforts with public sector needs, which ensured consistent funding and relevance. By becoming a partner rather than just a vendor, Hughes's enterprises integrated themselves into the strategic fabric of the country. This alignment brought long-term stability and positioned his businesses as indispensable in critical industries. The ability to remain indispensable was a key component of his strategy for financial endurance. In healthcare, Hughes invested in medical research and technology, particularly through the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, which he established as a nonprofit organization. This institution became a major force in biomedical research, and its endowment strategy preserved wealth while supporting scientific progress. His decision to place assets into the institute allowed for tax efficiency and long-term societal impact. This balance of private wealth and public benefit reflected a financial sophistication that extended beyond business into legacy planning. Though his later life was marked by isolation and declining health, the financial systems Hughes created continued to generate value. His trusts, investments, and corporate structures were designed for sustainability, with mechanisms to outlive his personal involvement. The foresight to build enduring systems ensured that the enterprises he founded would continue to operate and evolve. His story underscores the importance of succession planning and institutional resilience in securing a legacy beyond one's lifespan. Howard Hughes demonstrated that true financial influence comes not just from wealth, but from the ability to shape industries, set new standards, and innovate relentlessly. His strategic decisions across aviation, entertainment, real estate, and healthcare reflect a unique blend of vision and pragmatism. He showed that calculated risk, when supported by deep knowledge and operational discipline, can yield extraordinary results. His life offers invaluable lessons in asset control, diversification, intellectual property, and long-term value creation. Coco Chanel fashion icon and businesswoman Coco Chanel, the legendary fashion icon and businesswoman, transformed the world of style and built an empire that still stands as a benchmark for luxury, elegance, and financial strategy. Her journey from a modest upbringing to the pinnacle of global fashion was shaped by innovation, resilience, and a deep understanding of consumer psychology. Chanel's genius was not merely in her ability to design clothes, but in how she redefined femininity through fashion, while turning her brand into a self-sustaining financial powerhouse. She revolutionized women's wardrobes by rejecting the rigid and excessive styles of the early 20th century, offering instead clothing that was comfortable, functional, and modern. Her designs resonated with the needs of working women and the evolving social landscape, setting a new standard in both fashion and business. One of her earliest and most impactful decisions was to simplify women's fashion. She discarded the corsets and frills that had long dominated the industry and replaced them with clean lines, relaxed silhouettes, and fabrics like jersey that were once considered unglamorous. This not only disrupted traditional design, but also allowed for efficient production, lower costs, and broader appeal. Chanel anticipated the growing demand for practicality and elegance coexisting in clothing, and by doing so, she created products that blended high style with everyday usability. Financially, this approach expanded her customer base and differentiated her brand from competitors, which helped her scale the business while maintaining exclusivity. Chanel was a master of branding. Long before the term became standard in marketing discourse, she understood the emotional impact of a name and crafted an identity that symbolized independence, sophistication, and understated luxury. Her personal story was carefully curated to align with the image of the brand, reinforcing a sense of aspiration in consumers. Every product she introduced carried a part of her personality, making the brand feel authentic and relatable. This alignment between creator and creation made her name a powerful symbol, turning consumers into loyal followers. By embedding values into her brand, Chanel increased its perceived value, allowing her to command premium pricing without compromising demand. Her most iconic product, Chanel No. 5, marked a turning point, not only in perfumery, but also in product marketing. At a time when perfumes were often associated with florals or single-note scents, she introduced a complex fragrance that appealed to the modern woman's sensibilities. More importantly, she marketed the perfume not just as a scent, but as an experience, a reflection of identity and allure. She chose a simple, geometric bottle to contrast the ornate packaging that dominated the industry, making the product both aesthetically distinctive and cost-effective to produce. The minimalist design made it instantly recognizable and aligned with the broader brand philosophy of refined simplicity. Chanel No. 5 became one of the first lifestyle products to achieve global fame, showing how branding and emotional resonance could elevate a commodity into a luxury item. Chanel's business model was strategically built around vertical integration and control over the creative process. She was deeply involved in design, production, and promotion, ensuring consistency across every touchpoint. This control allowed her to maintain quality while adapting swiftly to market feedback. By owning the rights to her brand's image and products, she minimized reliance on third parties and maximized revenue capture. Her decision to license certain aspects of the business while maintaining ownership of the core brand exemplifies a balanced strategy of expansion and control. Licensing allowed her to scale without overextending operational resources, while her retained ownership protected the brand's integrity and long-term financial returns. Strategic partnerships also played a key role in Chanel's growth. One of her most critical alliances was with the Wertheimer family, who helped finance and distribute Chanel No. 5. Though the agreement was initially skewed in their favor, it provided the infrastructure necessary for global expansion. Over time, Chanel renegotiated her terms, eventually reclaiming control over her brand's most valuable assets. This experience taught her the importance of negotiation, contract structure, and financial leverage. Her ability to navigate complex business relationships while maintaining brand power underscores the significance of legal and strategic foresight in sustaining enterprise growth. Coco Chanel had a deep understanding of consumer behavior, particularly the psychological motivations behind fashion choices. She recognized that women did not just buy clothes. They bought confidence, identity, and status. She tailored her designs to reflect the ambitions and desires of modern women, making her collections not only stylish but symbolic. This consumer-centric approach increased brand loyalty and repeat purchases, enhancing customer lifetime value and reducing marketing costs. By focusing on timeless elegance rather than fleeting trends, she created pieces that retained relevance across seasons, leading to more stable sales and inventory management. She also pioneered the concept of seasonal fashion lines, which allowed her to keep the brand fresh while capitalizing on anticipation and exclusivity. Each new collection was treated as an event, generating excitement and media coverage that translated into higher foot traffic and sales. This approach created a rhythm of supply and demand that kept consumers engaged year-round. Financially, it enabled better forecasting, smoother cash flow, and more strategic allocation of production resources. The balance between innovation and continuity ensured that her brand evolved without alienating its core audience. Chanel's pricing strategy was carefully curated to reflect luxury and exclusivity. Rather than competing on cost, she focused on quality, design, and emotional value. Her products were never positioned as affordable, but always as worth the investment. This allowed her to maintain high margins while cultivating an elite customer base. She understood that scarcity could increase desirability, and she controlled supply meticulously to protect brand prestige. Limiting production of certain items created urgency among buyers and preserved the allure of ownership. This premium positioning enabled her to withstand economic fluctuations better than competitors who chased mass appeal. Her retail strategy was also ahead of its time. Chanel's boutiques were more than stores, they were immersive environments, designed to reflect the brand's aesthetic and lifestyle. From decor to customer service, every element was crafted to make visitors feel part of an exclusive world. This focus on in-store experience deepened emotional connections with the brand and justified premium pricing. Moreover, she chose strategic locations in major fashion capitals, ensuring visibility to high-net-worth individuals and influencers. The placement of her boutiques reinforced the brand's prestige and supported global brand recognition. Innovation extended beyond fashion and into marketing and public relations. Chanel leveraged media and celebrity associations to elevate her brand's image. She famously dressed prominent women in her designs, turning them into walking advertisements for the brand. This indirect form of endorsement carried more authenticity and reach than traditional advertisements. It also associated the brand with influential figures, amplifying its desirability. Chanel's understanding of media influence helped her sustain relevance across generations and geographical boundaries. Even in periods of personal retreat or global instability, the Chanel brand remained resilient due to the systems she built. Her decision to base the brand on timeless design rather than seasonal trends ensured that her creations continued to sell well beyond their initial release. The foundational identity of elegance, independence, and simplicity allowed the brand to adapt to changing times without losing its essence. Her approach to design and business was methodical, disciplined, and deeply intuitive, showing that artistic vision can coexist with financial acumen when properly structured. Legacy was an important part of Chanel's financial planning. She ensured that the company would continue to operate with the same principles and values she had embedded. This forward-thinking attitude protected the brand from fragmentation and preserved its long-term valuation. Today, Chanel remains privately held, one of the few luxury fashion houses still operating under its founder's original vision. This continuity speaks volumes about the sustainability of her business model and the foresight she applied to brand governance. Coco Chanel built more than a fashion line. She constructed a financial ecosystem around identity, aspiration, and timeless style. Her story is not only one of creative genius but of business mastery, showing that clarity of vision, disciplined execution, and strategic ownership can turn personal taste into a global legacy. Her ability to merge brand philosophy with operational excellence allowed her to scale without dilution, evolve without confusion, and dominate without compromise. Chanel's journey stands as a masterclass in building a brand that transcends fashion and becomes a lasting symbol of power, grace, and financial brilliance. Estée Lauder, pioneer in cosmetics industry. Estée Lauder, the pioneering force behind one of the world's most influential cosmetics empires, built her brand through a unique combination of product innovation, customer focus, and bold financial strategy. Her journey from a modest background to becoming a global beauty mogul is a blueprint in persistence, marketing acumen, and the power of understanding human behavior. Lauder began her career not in a laboratory or boardroom, but by personally demonstrating products to women, believing that hands-on engagement and trust were the keys to lasting customer relationships. With minimal capital but unshakable belief in her formulas, she launched her business during a time when the cosmetics industry was dominated by large European firms, many of which positioned beauty as a luxury reserved for the elite. Lauder saw opportunity in bringing skincare and makeup to the average woman, merging quality with accessibility, and embedding education into the shopping experience. Her first major financial breakthrough came from leveraging word of mouth as a cost-effective form of marketing. Rather than relying on traditional advertising early on, she used product sampling as her primary tactic, giving free items to customers to create trust and demand. This approach reduced customer acquisition costs and built a loyal base without significant ad spend. Sampling, which was unconventional at the time, later became a staple in the cosmetics industry. She understood that experiencing a product led to stronger purchasing intent than passive advertisement. Her belief in growth enabled her to scale quickly without massive overhead, allowing reinvestment into product development and market expansion. By creating demand through trial and trust, Lauder developed a grassroots marketing engine that consistently delivered high returns on investment. Lauder also pioneered the art of personalized selling in retail. She trained her beauty advisors to offer tailored consultations and make every customer feel like a VIP, regardless of how much they spent. This service-focused model increased customer lifetime value and created an emotional connection to the brand. By making beauty about confidence and self-expression rather than status, she expanded the market and made cosmetics a daily ritual for millions. Her ability to empathize with her customers gave her an edge in product development, as well as she anticipated needs and addressed them with solutions that resonated across age groups and skin types. This customer-first strategy fostered brand loyalty that often spanned generations. reinforcing recurring revenue and reducing churn. One of her most powerful financial insights was to position her brand within premium department stores, while keeping pricing just below the luxury threshold. This created a perception of high value without alienating middle-income customers. The placement strategy was critical by aligning her brand with prestige retail environments. She gained credibility and visibility among desirable demographics. At the same time, her slightly more attainable pricing expanded reach without eroding brand equity. This delicate balance between aspiration and accessibility allowed her to occupy a unique position in the market, commanding higher margins while enjoying volume-driven sales. It also established her products as gifts and staples alike, enhancing sales during holiday seasons and boosting year-round consistency. Estée Lauder's product packaging and branding also contributed to her financial success. She believed that the experience of beauty started at first glance, and she invested in elegant, clean, and memorable designs that communicated sophistication. This attention to presentation not only elevated the brand image but made the products gift-worthy and display-friendly, encouraging repeat purchases and referrals. The visual identity became a key driver of impulse buying, particularly in retail environments where shelf appeal mattered. Her brand was instantly recognizable, a factor that multiplied marketing effectiveness and enhanced cross-sell opportunities across product lines. Lauder was also an early advocate of diversification within the beauty category. She expanded beyond skincare to include fragrance, makeup, and men's grooming products, all while maintaining consistent quality and branding. This category expansion reduced revenue volatility and increased average order value, as customers often bought multiple products within a single transaction. Bundling and cross-promotion became standard practice, supported by seasonal campaigns that generated excitement and urgency. Each launch was designed to complement the existing line, strengthening brand cohesion and encouraging customers to deepen their engagement with the brand. This cohesive product architecture led to high customer retention and sustained growth. Across markets, international expansion was another area where Estée Lauder demonstrated strong business foresight. She identified global demand for American beauty solutions and tailored her messaging and offerings to local cultures without compromising core values. She worked with regional partners and localized her marketing strategies, ensuring cultural relevance while maintaining global brand consistency. This adaptability accelerated global penetration and made her one of the first American cosmetics brands to achieve significant overseas market share. Strategic distribution deals and licensing agreements provided the infrastructure for efficient scaling, while careful market research reduced the risk of entry failures. Her international approach turned the company into a multinational powerhouse with diversified revenue streams that protected it from regional economic fluctuations. Estée Lauder invested heavily in talent and training, understanding that her employees were the frontline representatives of the brand. She developed a rigorous training program for beauty consultants, emphasizing product knowledge, etiquette, and customer engagement. This investment in human capital paid off through superior in-store service, higher conversion rates, and a consistent brand experience. Motivated employees who embodied the brand's values contributed to its longevity and reputation. By standardizing excellence in service, she ensured that each customer interaction was a chance to build trust and generate revenue. This operational discipline translated into financial efficiency and scalable customer satisfaction. Her ability to forge strategic partnerships also bolstered the brand's financial performance. She collaborated with fashion designers, magazines, and even celebrities to amplify visibility and cultural relevance. These collaborations extended reach without requiring significant advertising budgets and kept the brand culturally resonant and aspirational. She understood that beauty trends were often influenced by lifestyle shifts and cultural icons, so she embedded the brand into fashion and media conversations. This proactive brand placement enhanced organic growth and expanded market penetration. Such alliances served not only to boost brand equity, but also to create demand surges tied to cultural moments, maximizing sales potential. Estée Lauder also recognized the importance of succession planning and institutional stability. She involved family members in leadership roles and developed corporate structures that allowed the brand to operate efficiently at scale. While she remained the creative and strategic force for many years, she gradually transitioned operational responsibilities to a professional management team. This move preserved the company's vision while enabling sustainable growth through formal processes and governance. The smooth transition ensured investor confidence and minimized disruption, preserving shareholder value and allowing the company to remain independent in a consolidating industry. This balance between founder vision and professional management became a model for enduring brand stewardship. The company's marketing evolved over time, yet always remained rooted in the principles Estée Lauder established: quality and connection. From print campaigns to digital activations, the brand has maintained relevance by adapting formats while staying true to its message. She demonstrated that a strong brand foundation could weather changes in media, consumer behavior, and competition. Her long-term view allowed for consistent reinvestment into product development, market research, and branding, creating a cycle of innovation and customer loyalty that sustained competitive advantage. Each financial decision was rooted in her commitment to customer satisfaction and brand integrity, proving that profitability and principle could coexist in harmony. Estée Lauder's journey underscores the financial power of authenticity, customer obsession, and innovation. She started with a simple belief in the effectiveness of her products and built an empire by remaining close to her customers, controlling her brand image, and scaling intelligently. Her ability to blend personal passion with strategic thinking enabled her to create a brand that outlived its founder and continues to thrive globally. Through disciplined expansion, rigorous training, and careful brand stewardship, she turned beauty into a business model that generated consistent high-margin returns across decades. Her story is a testament to the fact that sustainable financial success often comes from understanding people, creating value, and never compromising on quality or vision.